Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Breaking Bedrock. My name is Fiasco. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we start our episode in front of our brand new, fully finished wool farm. I think we got a glimpse of this in the last episode, and this is what it looks like fully done with those beautiful sea lanterns that we raided from that underwater monument. And boy, did I love how this build turned out. I loved it so much that I went and converted all of my other farms to the exact same style. That's right, I tore down everything and I rebuilt it all so that it looks a little bit nicer. And it was a lot of work, but I gotta say, it was absolutely worth it. Also, we're starting with no armor on, so I can show you my new little outfit. I did a little bit of shopping in the marketplace, upgraded a little bit, and got some new fresh red kicks. Of course, it starts raining right now. We have got actually a lot to show you in this episode because I have been a busy beaver and we have been working away. First of all, the farms. All upgraded. I also swapped out the trapdoors for these crimson wood trapdoors, which look a lot nicer. Our auto sorter is now fully functional, so all you got to do is plop some stuff in this shulker box right here, and it will make its way into the appropriate storage. So if we wait a moment, we can see it start to funnel in. Very happy with this. Also, I realized that I forgot to put sand in my lineup here, so something might have to go because sand does seem like something I'm going to need a lot of, but we'll deal with that another day. It's also really cool. If I want to, I can break this shulker box, it'll go into the overflow section, and then I can plop a different shulker box on top of it, and it will sort through all of that stuff as well. So when I come back from a job or I've been collecting materials or whatever, I just drop it right there and it will auto sort. Very happy with that. Another big project that I've undertaken is the beginning of the conversion of our island. And I'm not kidding when I say this took a lot of time. This is a big project and it is going to be ongoing for quite a while, but I've got a new technique down for trying to get the grass to grow in quicker, so we'll get there. And look how nice it looks. What a huge difference compared to this. Ugh. This is where it is at, which is, it's great. I'm glad to see that that is finally coming together because I've done a lot of work in this world, but not a lot of projects that make like a huge impact on the look of the world. You know, building the Colosseum here is one, but just changing the colors there is going to add a whole new world to this gloomy mushroom island. And maybe I'll leave the outer islands mushroomy. We'll see. I've got a lot of work to do there, and that's just something that is going to get taken care of as I have time to take care of it. So in today's episode, what are we doing? Well, you can see that I have brought my two little villagers that were way down there up here, and these two fine folks are going to be breeding up a few more villagers for me. Maybe not right now, but eventually, as we... Is this a thunderstorm? I gotta be careful with thunderstorms because the lightning, it's still bad. Okay, doesn't look like it. So what we're going to be doing in today's episode is beginning to lay out our villager trading area. And we are going to be doing that on this side of the island. And instead of doing one big hall, I'm going to make this into a port area. And we are going to build this up so that it looks like a little town where our grand structure here would like receive and ship out supplies. And so we're going to have themed buildings like blacksmiths and a library and stuff like that, and that is where I will be keeping my actual villagers. But this is going to be quite a bit of work now that I look at it. I just kind of had this idea today, and I think it's going to work. And there's even a nice little natural bay here for ships to come in and whatnot. So I guess let's start doing a little bit of terraforming. These are all going to have to come down, and then I'm going to see if I can lay out maybe the first section here, which will be kind of the docks area. Alrighty, and having just removed some of these cliffs, we are now left with a little more space to work here. Now, the idea with the concrete powder being laid out here is I'm just going to lay out a few structures so that we can have a better idea of how our little port is going to fit together. So, if we take a look here, the pink here is going to be the main dock where everything is going to be shipped in from, and maybe I'll put a ship in this bay eventually as well. It's actually fairly deep water. Let's take a look here. Oh yeah, perfect. Great, so it would make sense that a ship would be able to pull up right to a dock in this bay because it is actually pretty deep water. So taking advantage of kind of the front section here, this is just going to, and maybe it won't be that thick exactly, but this is the general shape of the dock. And I need to take a look at some photos of what actual bay docks look like because, yeah, I am quite landlocked and don't spend a lot of time at ports in my real life, especially kind of fantasy medieval ones like we're going for here. So I'm going to need to do a little bit of reference material checking, and then I'm going to raise this up and kind of get an idea of where the dock is exactly going to go, and then I can lay out a few buildings after that, and then everything will kind of be focused around the one dock, and I can plot out buildings afterwards based on that. So give me a minute here, let's see what I can come up with. And so after a short while, this is what I have got roughed in here. Now, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with all of this. This will probably be a market type area where I'll just set up a bunch of stalls. So for the merchants that rather than having a storefront, they've just got a little stall set up. And who knows what merchants I'll actually put in there for bartering, but that should work just fine for that. Got a little dock down there for the ships to come in. And special shout out to chains because they are a great addition to this game for stuff like this. So now I think what I'm going to do is focus the rest of this episode on building up just a row of shops. They'll kind of look like houses, I guess, but shops right here in this section. And we'll try to maybe do 3 or 4 of them there in kind of a row style house. And you'll know what I mean here in a second when I build something up. But I'm going to try and build something out of diorite and white concrete. And it's something that I've experimented a little bit with, but not necessarily in this style. So I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. And I guess maybe I should leave a walkway right here. So let's mark that out there and there. Yeah, without doing like a full scale like city layout beforehand, I'm gonna need to try and be careful not to place things in the wrong spots. But let's do a bit of a housing area right here and see how that turns out. So this is what we have come up with. This is the style that I was talking about, kind of those row houses. And that was my last firework, so hopefully we get a good view on this one. So this is what I'm thinking, kind of, at least for this pier front area. And basically, 2 of these don't have backs on them yet because I wasn't really sure if I was going to go with them, but I do think that I like them. And you'll notice that I'm kind of going for some weird, like, unconventional colors and designs and whatnot. That's because I do want this town to be not a realistic town. I'm not looking for actual real world realism. I'm looking for more of just like a fun fantasy port or town or whatever we're going to build here, where things are wacky, things are crazy, you know, things don't need to follow what we conventionally think of them in the real world as. So yeah, I went with a few different color styles, and I actually really like how this building turned out. Now, these are just the shells, bear in mind. I still need to do a bunch of texturing and details and all that jazz, and I'll probably switch up some of this stuff at some point or another. But this is a good start for our little sea town here, and unfortunately I don't really have enough time right now in this episode to actually get our villager breeding started up so that we can populate some of these, but I don't think it's a bad idea to maybe lay out, you know, this first little bit here, maybe get that kind of more buttoned up to where we like it, and then maybe this immediate area here, get some market stalls. Now, the reason I put this barrier wall here, or this retaining dock type wall, is not only because it looks really good against the water, and this is realistically what a port would more likely be like, with a retaining wall built up so that the current doesn't mess with it, but I also wanted to put it there for the sake of not having drowned come up onto our area here, because if you recall, in the water here, drown can still spawn, and boy do they ever spawn. So I might even get some conduits set up in this little bay here just to auto kill some of those drown that do spawn, but they shouldn't be able to bother us if we're up here, and if we have our villagers up here, they should be all right. I don't think that they'll be able to spawn on these edges or anything. I'll do a little testing there just to make sure, because this might technically be out of the bounds of the Mushroom Island, but once I light this up, I'm going to find a real cute lamppost design, and yeah, this area is going to look great, and I'm very happy with all of it for this episode. So I think I'm just going to button up the backs of those buildings. I'm going to say that those are good for now, and I think we're gonna call it here. We've actually, there's one more thing that I want to show you that I did off camera before the episode started, and that was destroy that super smelter that I built. Yep, it wasn't very super, and what we are going to do is this, but super. So I'm thinking, now that these farms are in up top here, I got a better idea of how much space we have to work with here. And that was kind of my fallback before, was I didn't really know if these farms were going to be 100%, but now that they are 100% and are not changing again, I can actually work with these quarter sections down here and the space that we have remaining. So I'm going to see if I can find a cool, like, custom design for this space. I'll maybe see if I can cook up something that looks good in these spaces, because now this is fully ready to get populated with stuff. And same with these arches. I think I'm going to raise these bottom arches a little bit so that they are more in line with kind of the bottoms of the farms here. And then we are going to get working on the interior of this as well. Yes, these walls will be changed. Also, that is Muri's new spot. That's how much space he's allowed to have from now on. I was kind of getting sick of Muri, to be perfectly honest with you, but up there, he doesn't bother anyone, so I am happy with that. So that is where we are going to call it. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and let me know if you have any ideas for our new little fantasy harbor town. What are some cool things that I can throw in there? You know, what can we name this place? You know, port of something, or blank harbor, or something like that. You guys are creative. You'll come up with something. Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.